It was a stormy night, and especially a rainy night. Good morning from Magdala, the Sea of Galilee. I want to get a different position, but I like this position for some features. Let me see if I get down here in this uneven ground, so bear with me. But it's going to allow a few more effects. It's going to be a little bit special here, sorry. It's hard to get it even here. Let me see, I bring down this leg a little bit here. Okie doke, that's pretty good. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Nice crowd gathering from Canada. I'm not sure if Singapore is in here. Tennessee is here. There was a catfish just here right now. Let me show where he was. And there's another one. Oh, that's the dog. There was a catfish right out there right now, a moment ago. But let's get back to the sunrise, because this isn't a catfish stroll and swim. It's a sunrise stroll and chat. I think we're going to have a lovely one, people. It's going to be gorgeous. Atlanta is here, and I probably missed some people. Mississippi, Ireland, can you imagine? It's kind of early in Ireland. What are they doing up this hour of the morning? If it's 6 o'clock here, it's 4 o'clock in the morning in Ireland. Come on. Maybe night shift, you know. We always said there was no hurry to get up, because when God made time, He made plenty of it. Maryland is here. Mexico is here. So we have Mexico to Canada. And we're as far as Ireland and Jerusalem. And I'm in Galilee, here in Magdala. That's quite a spread. I don't see Singapore yet. Calling Singapore and Hong Kong. And Australia. Where are you all? Okie doke. Look at, there it is. There's the sun, people. Did you see it coming before I did? There's the sunrise. And it's doing a nice job on the water, so I'm going to lift up the camera just physically, because I came down to a lower spot here for a different reason. But look at that water, people. Good morning, a beautiful Sunday morning. The first day of the week. People, welcome to creation. Welcome to reality. And look at all these clouds that we had. And look at them over here. All these clouds, people. I just should shrink the screen a little bit. Come on, screen. I have to put it down. I can't do it with 2 fingers. Come on, little birdie. Now it's fully over the Golan. Thank you all for joining us. I'm just going to put it down to get a little focus on the screen here. Oops, sorry about that, people. Tighten your seatbelts. Now with this focus I want to go back and see the clouds again, so you can see, in fact 20 minutes, half an hour ago, the clouds were much more intense. And they have moved east, so they're not as high. You have all that very dark cloud. See, the good Lord wrote 2 books. The first book is nature, creation, and the second book is the good book we know, a whole library of books spreading over now 3,000 years, because that good book is alive and it's talking to us. But also the first book of nature is talking to us. Hear all the birds. Where are you, little birdie? I don't see you. The water is lovely now as well with the reflections here. Look at that. The little waves, ever so gently. It's interesting with the little tap of the screen there. You go from that, you change the color, you change the focus from the dark things. Well, that's not dark. Let's go back up here. Let's see what happens. It's great to have you with us here this morning, people. This is incredibly delightful, and we're very thankful that we have eyes to see and ears to hear. I really want to get started with the readings, but I can't let go of this. It's like a child between chocolate cake and ice cream. Where do you dig in first, or can you do the two together? What do you say, Wisconsin? Do we do the ice cream first or the chocolate, or how do we get both together? And then if you're a little older, then you want a little wine or a little after dinner drink, and you want to do them all together. Well, we can't do them all together. We have to do one at a time. Time is needed. Wow, did you see those guys? They just come so quickly. They're like Air Force jets flying in and they're gone. Those are that parrot type things, and they're green, but you can't see them when we're looking at this angle. If we were on the other side, if I was out there swimming watching this direction, I could see how green they were. Alabama, where's the banjo? And Kansas is here. So people enjoy. And that's what Sunday is about. It's filled with joy. Easter joy, every Sunday. It's funny, a Sunday crossed my mind right now. Bloody Sunday in Northern Ireland. I was a teenager. But every Sunday is filled with joy. Hong Kong is finally here. Wonderful, welcome. So now we go from Mexico through California to Canada, all of the America, well, all of North America, because I don't see South America here. We need to spread the word to them. And I think Mexico is here, but that's not South America. Actually, Mexico is North America. Can you imagine? And then we come all the way across through those precious islands, especially Ireland. A little biased. And then we come all the way to Jerusalem and all the way to Singapore and Hong Kong. I'm not sure if we have Oceania here today with us. Let's go and walk a little bit. Oops. I'd like to stay here too. What do you want to do? You want me to walk or you want me to stay here? Well, let's take another minute here and we'll just read, as we have a lot of wonderful, extraordinary scripture today. So we're in the third Sunday of Easter, how time flies. And time is very important. So we need time to process things. We need space. We need company sometimes. We need solitude and we need company. So actually, it's a fast forward with the readings because it's Pentecost Sunday. And those of you who have been with us every day will realize we have a repetition here, but that's intentional in the liturgy because not everybody goes to pray every day, and they go on Sundays. So we're back now again with major resurrection story, and that's going to be the gospel. But we're in the reading, we're in the Acts of the Apostles, the first reading, chapter 2 after Pentecost. And Peter stood up and raised his voice and proclaimed, "You are Jews, indeed all of you staying in Jerusalem. Let this be known to you, and listen to my words. Jesus the Nazarene was a man commended to you by God with mighty deeds, wonders, and signs, which God worked through him in your midst, as you yourselves know. This man, delivered up by the set plan and foreknowledge of God, you killed using lawless men to crucify him. But God raised him up, releasing him from the throes of death." You see, every Sunday celebrates this. This is the meaning of every Sunday liturgically. For all these centuries, 2,000 years, Christians have gathered on Sunday to celebrate the Lord's death and resurrection. It was impossible for him to be held by it, for David says of him, "I saw the Lord ever before me, with him at my right hand I shall not be disturbed. Therefore my heart has been glad and my tongue exulted. My flesh too will dwell in hope, because you will not abandon my soul to the netherworld, nor will you suffer your Holy One to see corruption. You have made known to me the paths of life. You fill me with joy in your presence." Oh, you have to read it all yourselves, because if I read it all, we won't get to further. But, here we have an extraordinary situation. Look at how the clouds are making this even more interesting. You see, the sun is dealing with this cloud, like we all have to do during life, dealing with clouds. Let me go and walk a little bit. One last glimpse of this water here, because this water is so precious. And then we won't be seeing that for a while now. So let's go for a stroll, because this is going to be still very nice in other places. We have to get other angles. We have to walk. It's part of the deal. So just tighten your seatbelt here, people. I want to show you something else that's very beautiful. A couple of spots. So the biggest walk we do is not from A to B on the ground, but from A to B in our souls. And Peter is a living instance of this. He who denied Jesus, who didn't want to be associated with him, even when a little girl asked him, a little maid girl, servant girl, asked him, "Are you Galilean?" "No way, how dare you say that I'm from that part of the world?" Oftentimes even immigrants have a problem, in the United States. The Irish were not well seen for a long time. And now everybody wants to be Irish. It's wonderful how the world changes, With so much changes in the world. These are eucalyptus trees. And they're an import that were brought here, I think, from Australia to dry up the wetland. For other reasons, they're not actually very loved, but they're considered dirty trees. They're always throwing out bark and leaves, and difficult to keep a nice garden if you have an eucalyptus tree. But they do their job. I think we're going to have some fun with these clouds, because the sun is going to go hiding again. What a gift we've been given. Let me try this spot here, because this could be good, and I still want to do one other spot. Oops, sorry about that. Okay, people, we might come back here later in a moment. I just want to share one other one, because I'm actually curious myself to see how it looks. I'm pointing the camera towards the Mount of Beatitudes. Capernaum is not very far from there. Peter saw skies like these. Sometimes he only saw the clouds, but he learned to see the sunrise. Okay, I think I went too far. I want to show you something special here, people. Come with me. This is like armchair traveling, I'm not walking. This is what I wanted to see. I'm going to have a soft landing here, hopefully. So people, what a beautiful gift Providence has enabled here through many of you as benefactors, and to allow us to build this incredible place. I want to get over here one more step. There we go. You know, when you have a sunrise like this, you can't miss this scene either. There's Mount Arbel. It's the first day of the week, so people are back to work here, you know. Little by little restrictions are being lifted for various businesses and activities, as we still are very aware of the assault on humanity by Corona. So let's come back here to see the real one as it disappears into the cloud. I think I'm going to pick a spot up here right now. A little different. I don't think I've done it from here before, maybe once. A little soft landing again, hopefully. Okie doke, here we are, people. Oops. So I'm amazed at Peter, as you can tell. Can't hide it. Because he was a hard nut to crack. Tremendous leadership. Readiness, jump in the water, pull out his sword, want to walk on the water. So many moments of initiative and drive and jumping out there, and now he's actually jumping into preaching and he's going to have to learn a lot of hard knocks in that process. That was too sudden now, people, but little by little we'll figure it out. Lord, you will show us the path of life. And hopefully these sunrise strolls and chats allow us to walk the path of life, to walk a path of life. We walk together from the west coast of the Americas to the east coast of Asia, and embrace the whole planet. And we walk here each morning as we rotate around the sun. Lord, show us the path of life. That's Psalm 16. I will bless the Lord who counsels me. Even in the night my heart exhorts me. I set the Lord ever before me. With him at my right hand I shall not be disturbed. Therefore my heart is glad and my soul rejoices. My body too abides in confidence, because you will not abandon my soul to the netherworld, nor will you suffer your faithful one to undergo corruption. You know, this beautiful source of Peter's words on Pentecost morning in Jerusalem. Psalm 16. The Psalms are attributed to David. So he was quoting David. It was such a path of discovery for the disciples to reread Scripture in the light of Jesus' passion, death, and resurrection. And so much became evident. I'm going to skip the second reading, which is the first letter of Peter, 1:17 to 21, and we'll do that a little bit later on, God willing, if there's time. And I'm going to go to the Gospel, which is Luke 24, which is actually a stroll and a chat, but it wasn't sunrise, it was good afternoon. And that very day, the first day of the week, 2 of Jesus' disciples were going to a village 7 miles from Jerusalem. So now we're back at the day of the resurrection. And they really don't figure it out yet. They're just, that whole thing is behind a big cloud. And it happened while they were conversing and debating, Jesus himself drew near. Imagine how many people debate and converse and get passionate everywhere, at home in kitchens, in bedrooms, in bars, while traveling together as friends, which is curtailed nowadays, and in front of scandals, in front of political failures, debating passionately. I remember my dad, God rest his soul, and my uncle, who's now very feeble, and the talks they would have, they would meet once or twice a year, and the talks they would have about the political situation, and back in the 1960s, and it was amazing. We had more interesting things to do, all the cousins playing with each other, but it was they never finished the debating and the conversing, and they looked forward to it, and they loved it, and they got into it. And Jesus himself drew near and walked with them, but their eyes were prevented from recognizing him. What are you discussing as you walk along? This is Luke 24. They stopped, looking downcast. One of them, named Cleopas, said to him in reply, "Are you the only visitor in Jerusalem who doesn't know of these things and who should be totally downcast like we are?" That's not in there, okay? Those are my words at the last there, the last 3 words. And he replied to them, "What sort of things? Like nothing ever happened. The things that happened to Jesus the Nazarene, who was a prophet, mighty in deed and word before God and all the people, how our chief priests and rulers handed him over to a sentence of death and crucified him. But we were hoping that he was the one to redeem Israel. And this is the 3rd day." Why are they saying that? "And some women from our group have astounded us. They were at the tomb early in the morning and did not find his body." I wonder if they had a sunrise like this. Early in the morning. They came back and reported that they had indeed seen a vision of angels. who announced that he was alive. I mean, they're carrying this information with them. I mean, this is, imagine a detective on a hot trail, to finally get close to the criminal, and they leave the scene and go someplace else. This is amazing. Then some of those who went to the tomb found things just as the women had described. So there's even more evidence that there's a very hot trail here. And they leave the scene. They leave Jerusalem. They leave the day of the resurrection and go on chatting in their sadness and being downcast. Humanity, we need to wake up. We need to wake up, humanity. Good morning. It's time to wake up. And he said to them, how foolish you are and slow of heart. So if humanity wants to wake up, we also have to realize sometimes we are very foolish and very slow of heart to believe all that the prophet spoke. Was it not necessary that the Christ should suffer these things and enter his glory? And beginning with Moses and all the prophets, he interpreted to them what referred to him in all the scriptures. And you know what, people? The scriptures refer to us. All the scriptures refer to us. And we have to discover what refers to us in the scriptures. And there's a huge light for us in the scriptures. Amazing light. That turns night into day. As they approached the village where they were going, he gave the impression he was going further, but they urged him, stay with us, for it is nearly evening, and the day is almost over. So he went in to stay with them. And while he was with them at table, he broke bread, said the blessing, broke it, and gave it to them. With that their eyes were opened, and they recognized him, but he vanished from their sight. Then they said to each other, were not our hearts burning within us while he spoke to us on the way and opened the scriptures to us? So they set out at once and returned to Jerusalem, where they found to gather together the 11 and those with them who were saying, the Lord has truly been raised and has appeared to Simon. Then the two recounted what had taken place on the way and how he was made known to them in the breaking of the bread. It's a very long story in the Gospel. Luke chapter 24. Highly recommend it to you people. The more we read it, the more we love it. Oops, sorry. Big black cloud, but it has a golden lining, not just a silver lining. And there's the sun in behind, and it's going to be coming out shortly. People, when we look at our own lives and the life of humanity on the planet, and all the walking we have done, all the strolling, all the running, many times it ends up in big crucifixions. And many times we are the crucified, and many times also those who crucified. My personal experiences, more and more realizing this fact. And this is a huge, huge reason why we need the resurrection. We need to walk together, people. We need to walk together. We need to encounter each other. So many people throw so many stones until they kill the life in the other. And who of us have not thrown stones? And how do we stop throwing stones? We condemn. So we have to stop condemning. And how do we stop condemning if we're always judging? And sometimes we become aware of cases of great miscarriage of judgment, and judgments become annulled and a person's name is cleared, but very few people realize that. They just remember that he was condemned. And how do we stop judging? How do we change the culture, the judgmental culture? Inside a kitchen, between siblings, between spouses. That's where we see it in a microcosm of the whole world history. Two young people fall in love, and they have so much going for them, so much talent, so much personality, so many options and possibilities. And yet in a few years they can be at each other's throats. There can be such bitter words spoken, such deep hurt caused. That little plant in the sun, so promising, it's actually a eucalyptus tree, and it's destined to become like this. Let me see if I can get around here. Just bear with me, people. Look at this tree here. Imagine when this tree was like that little plant we just saw. And there's another one right behind it, and there's one that was cut off in the middle. Look at this tree, people. Now the camera won't book for me more, so I'm going to get down on my knee and move the whole tripod in your direction, in the direction of the view of the top of the tree. Don't get seasick, okay? Now I want to come back and see that little plant again that we have right here, a little baby eucalyptus tree. Imagine every family, as that young couple falls in love, gets married, have their first children, and there's so much trouble can happen. So many crucifixions. But the promise of redemption, the promise of coming out from the clouds and seeing the extraordinary beauty of life. And the great news is that there's redemption. And the light can shine again, and the darkness can be overcome. The hatreds, the jealousies. And we have to learn to judge aright. The other is the image of the Creator, a reflection of all that goodness from on high. This is the road to Emmaus. It's not just 7 miles from Jerusalem to Emmaus, it's a whole lifetime for most of us to go from crucifixion to resurrection. But isn't it great to get there? And to have the hope that we are going to get there, no matter where we are right now. No matter how dark it is now, we're going to get there. And this little plant hopefully will become a tree. And let's help it. And let's help every little family, every young family, and also the maturing families, and also the families that look very strong but maybe very hollow inside. Lots of appearances, lots of external securities. Lord, how we need to rebuild the family in our society so that children can grow up with less scars. And all those who are scarred today in the slums and the barrios and the favelas, that they will find people, that people will find them and bring them on the path of Emmaus, to go from desolation and despondency and downcast spirit to a new sunrise in their lives. To have hope again, to allow their heart and soul and mind to flourish. People, this has been a long one this morning. I'm delighted you joined us. My battery is almost empty, so I just have to stop. Don't forget to read the second reading. It's very powerful. It's through the blood of Christ, through His crucifixion. Violence always ends in crucifixion. And there are always more than one crucified, because the violent person is also crucified in their own interior life, and they need redemption. Not only the victim, the violent one. What homework we have cut out for us when we got the wonderful news of the resurrection. It's not just a sunrise for one morning, it's for our whole lives. Let's say goodbye, people. Thank you for joining us. Keep transforming the world as you walk to Emmaus and walk discovering the Lord in the downcast moments that are part of all of our lives. And bring this great joy, this great hope, this great love. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Have a beautiful Sunday. Bring light into the world, the light that's given to us from above.